So in nutshell, we have to be GPS of organization as a CHRO. Okay. In other words, not a geographical positioning system, but a guru positioning system. GPS. You need to play a role of Chanakya to make sure that your Chandragupta Maurya, your leader is really making an impact in the market and your organization is succeeding.
Yeah.
So there are three words when I walked out of my Gurukul of RSS. I told you, right, during my childhood. Every mentor does give you one or two formulas before you walk out of the Gurukul. So
Sure.
the three words that my mentor gave me was connect, collaborate, and contribute. US produces only 1 lakh or 2 lakh engineers per year for $25 trillion economy. India produces 10 to 12 lakh engineer per year for just $3 trillion economy. 90-95% my literate population of my country, and I have a $3 trillion economy. Why?
Good morning, audience. It's an amazing experience for me to be there talking to a guest today who is like no other guest. You know, of course, everybody who has come for this heart-to-heart conversation has got his own unique perspectives, his or her unique perspectives and personalities and lessons which people have been sharing. But today we're going to talk to somebody who is unique plus plus. Of course, I'm not talking about some computer language. He's absolutely a person who is super inspiring, full of energy. And I think I'm going to ask him a question whether he has got more than 24 hours because he is doing so many things in so many fields. So let me take a few minutes, I think, while talking about the guest today, because Sachidanand ji, of course, people are going to, many people might be knowing you already. But I know that there are people who tell me that, Arun, first you tell us about the guest, because at times we get into free-flowing conversation and then I'm yet to speak about the guest. So today I must have this, it's my privilege to be talking about Mr. Sachidanand Kulkarni. He is also known as SRK, Sachidanand R. Kulkarni. And he has got an amazing and very, very inspiring journey. Mr. Sachidanand, he started his career with Wipro Technologies in 2003, where he worked for 4 years. He was there in the field of academics and staffing, resource management, and in the field of HR. And then he joined a company called Nihilin Technologies. I think it has got one of the largest offices in India, which is in Pune, in Viman Nagar. So every time I drive through that road, I see the huge logo of Nihilin, where he worked in the field of training and development, individual development, which is very interesting, and human resources. And then he became the consulting CHRO in a company called Webonize. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Nice.
Webonize. In parallel, he also became consulting CHRO. He is one of those CHROs who is highly in demand in many IT-based organizations. Companies like Oro, then Verseno, Milky Way, and then many other organizations. I think he is consulting CHR in many IT-based organizations. And it is one thing which gives me so much of inspiration, that there is a person who knows that his expertise, his experience, his life lessons should not be limited to one company. And that's the reason he has been reaching out to as many companies as possible. And audience, this is just the beginning of this is just the tip of the iceberg, because we are going to talk a bit more about the person who has so kindly graced us on this occasion, on this beautiful Sunday morning as the guest. Mr. Sachidanand also founded a consulting organization called Sach Consulting LLP in the year 2017. It has been more than 6 years. And he has been, I think it's very clear that he has been reaching out to as many companies as possible. One look at his LinkedIn profile, you know that he has been reaching out to so many people from different countries. Of course, I saw a picture where he has been talking to people. He has been sharing his life lessons, career lessons with people from Sweden and some other countries, right? I think I saw that. And in parallel, this is something which is even more interesting. So SRK has been in the field of writing blogs. He has published books on Marathi, 4-line poems, which are known as Sauli. Of course, we are going to talk a bit about Sauli, because so far I knew abhangs, which are like, couplets or poems which are written by Tukaramji Maharaj, Sant Tukaramji Maharaj. And of course, we'll talk about Sauli. He writes poems, and then he also has been studying Dvait philosophy of Sri Madhvacharya from past 3 years. Sachidanand ji, I know people who work for 5 days and then on 6th and 7th days, they are mostly found in Phoenix Market City with their family. And here is a person who has been doing so many things. He loves chanting Sanskrit shlokas, and these shlokas are connected with her day-to-day life and career. He recently developed a passion despite not knowing Karnataka as a language. He has been performing bhajans in Kannada language. I think it's something which makes me clap for the guest today. I think it's super inspiring, and still it is not complete audience. Of course, we are going to talk to SRK. And then he has got a deep passion for enabling young and new entrepreneurs. I know that he has been into mentoring of startups, and he's working very closely on social impact projects as a part of core team with few NGOs. So, audience, on behalf of you, I put my hands together and welcome SRK with a lot of enthusiasm in this is to heart-to-heart conversation on this beautiful Sunday morning. So, Sachidanand, we wanted to know on behalf, the nation wants to know whether you have got more than 24 hours, and let's start from there. How do you do all these things which you have been doing? And this is super energetic. Of course, I'm going to share one of my earlier memories, but I'll do that once we hear you, whether you have got more than 24 hours. So what is that which drives you?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here on your
Thank you for joining.
So your heart-to-heart conversation program. In fact, I've been watching that you've been interviewing our colleagues in the industry, and I've seen some of those talks as well. I of course never thought that I would be on this panel, but thank you so much, Arun, for reaching out.
Thank you so much. My
pleasure to really have this conversation. And the answer to your question is, wish I could have had more than 24 hours. But then, you know, your childhood, if it has been inspiring enough and ambitious enough, it doesn't let you settle with less, right? It wants you to constantly, you know, chase certain things, whether those are dreams of others. You want to help enable others to achieve their dreams, not just your own dreams. And in that journey, then you just walk on. You don't look at time, you don't look at multiple interests. You want to be everywhere and make sure that you give best in your life, because it's one life. We don't know past future of this. So what can I do? What is the impact that I can leave before I leave this life, right? Before I vanish from this planet? Can I do more? Can I make more impact? And I think those kind of thinkings have always inspired me to be possibly at multiple. Oh, I can see some picture behind.
Yeah, I've got quite a few pictures. I think there are so many pictures of you. I think so many engagements which you have been a part of. That I think there are just so many things which you have done. And of course, we are going to talk about your meeting with Swami Ramdev, and of course Amol Palekar, and so many people. My favorite Vikram Gokhale also. I saw one of the pictures. I think
I'll share that.
Sir, is super inspiring, I must say, to you with full conviction and humility. Amazing, amazing. So you said something about something which is very interesting. You spoke about the fact that when somebody's childhood days are full of inspiring stories, you know, it gives a conviction, it gives a deeper and long-term purpose for somebody to, you know, help as many people as possible to get better. Can we go back to your childhood days, and if you can share something about the place where you spent your childhood days, and something about your school, your mentor, your teacher, your parents, or whatever you want to share? Because I know there is something that the roots are very deep. If the tree is huge, the roots are very deep, and let's start from there. Thank you.
Yes. So I come from, my hometown is a very small Gram Panchayat level village in Usmanabad district, which is now Dharashiv. Okay, the new name. It's a middle Maharashtra, Marathwada region. There's a town called Tugao in Umarga Taluka and Dharashiv district. So that's where I come from. My father is full-time farmer.
Okay.
Yeah, and I studied initial almost till 7th. I studied in my hometown in a Jilla Parishad school, ZP Marathi medium school of government.
Yeah.
And post that, if you know the famous earthquake of 93 of Latur Killa,
Yes,
very close by from my hometown. Post that, you know, RSS had opened one residential school in Latur. I was fortunate to be part of that school for about 3 years. And so I studied in there. I stayed in hostel, Gurukul sort of a system. Of course, the education was regular, but then the discipline and And that's where I got inspiration to do more in life. And one of the Tukaram Maharaj, because you mentioned his Abhang of 4 lines during my those school days, has inspired me. And that was, it goes in Marathi: Apulya hi hita jo ase jagata dhanya mata pita tayachiya.
Wow, amazing.
कुळी कन्या पुत्र होती जी सात्विक तयाचा हरिक वाटे देवा तुका म्हणे मज घडो त्यांची सेवा तरी माझ्या जन्मा पार नाही. तो आपुल्या ही हिता जो असे जागता धन्य माता पिता तयाची या, that line itself talks so much about what should be an effort and a journey of an individual during the student life, or a vidyarthi time, that you should actually do things because you want to contribute more, not just because to take care of your family, but for the overall society. And the journey started there. So schooling is from there. Obviously गांव का क्लाइमेट आपको पता है, तो
बिल्कुल.
And post earthquake, we had to leave our big house, ancestral houses, because they were like fort. मिनी फोर्ट की तरह बड़े बड़े पत्थरों के घर,
जो वाड़ा जैसे जो होते हैं, बहुत ही
वाड़ा, पुराना टाइप का वाड़ा.
I think I need to join you when you go to your village next time. I would love seeing some of the places.
वो छोड़ के we came and stayed in our farm. हम खेत में छोटा सा घर बना लिया डर के, उस जमाने में 25-30 साल पहले. So lot of memories of staying in farm itself. तो फिर स्कूल के बाद 1-2 घंटा 2-3 गाय थे घर में, तो पिताजी के साथ खेत में जाओ, गाय चराओ. और खेत, luckily it is on the border of river, so there's a river called Benitura which flows below my farm. So had a lot of time I have spent. I have studied in my farm, sitting under the trees. I have walked with my cow and did my homework in my farm. So those are my childhood memories, and I'm very closely attached to the soil of my hometown. So I go quite often, 3-4 times in a year still, and spend time under the trees that I have grown myself. So that's where I come from.
Beautiful.
And one thing in my life that was most inspiring was my grandfather till I was in class 6th, and then he no more. He was part of a freedom fighters team for Marathwada Mukti Sangram.
Okay.
So he was a student of Swami Ramananda Tirtha.
Wow.
And, he studied in Gurukula, and that time he fought against Nizams in that time, that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was building the local armies of every area to capture Hyderabad from Nizam, and that's how my grandfather was there. So his life has inspired me a lot. I was fortunate to spend early years with him, so learned a lot of lessons about how can you sort of live life in entirety.
Beautiful. Yesterday I had a gentleman called Mr. Kishore Kenche as the guest. So yesterday, Saturday morning, we had interaction, and he again comes from Latur.
Okay.
Latur, yeah. So I can see the connection, and it's a very interesting thing. I think all that you have just shared over the last couple of minutes is something which is very inspiring, and something on which we can speak for whole day. Because SRK ji spoke about sitting under a tree. At times you go and you feel like just sitting under the tree. And of course, when I got into this field in 2018, before that of course I was working as head of HR CHRO in some Tata organization, but then I made some changes in my lifestyle. It has more than 1,000 days when I have been waking up early in the morning, including today when I started my day around 4:45, 4:30. And I sit not beneath the tree, I just sit in silence for some time. And then I do a lot of things which I have been coaching people also on. And then I do writing and affirmations and goal setting and vision and some of these things. And I saw, and then for the first time, I got a realization as what was the meaning of, comparison. I'm saying this with folded hands, with humility. What was the meaning of Gautam Buddha attaining enlightenment after he had spent 10 years while sitting beneath the banyan tree and while being in the company of nature? When I recall when I went to this hotel called, I think 5 to 7 star hotel, as people say, 5-star hotel, Westin, long time back in 2016, 17, and 18, I think. So there was some event organized by LinkedIn, and I just went to attend it. And I saw two people on the stage. I saw one guy from LinkedIn, a singer guy who was interviewing, And then I saw Sachidanand being interviewed. He was the second person on the stage. I still recall one question which he asked. He asked you a question as, do you feel, Mr. Sachidanand, that there is a need for HR to understand business? You said, absolutely, promptly said that, I think before that, I think there is a serious need for the business to appreciate and understand the meaning and value of HR. And I was hooked to what you said. And I saw a lot of confidence. I knew that I'm listening to somebody who has got deep-rooted passion for some of these basic tenets of life and HR and career, because it's all a connected world. You know it better than many people that you know it. It's all a connected world. Sitting beneath the tree and feeling that breezy feeling on your face is something which is one of those, which is one of those moments which gives us a lot of happiness and also a sense of silence. Because when I begin my sessions on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in the morning at 5:30, the first thing which I invite people to do is to just sit in silence for 5 minutes time while keeping a little smile on face, because something which many people might, I don't know, when was the last time people sat in silence, because we are busy. Once people wake up at around 6:30, 7 o'clock, it's all a busy world, right? I think people are running from here and there. So it's very clear to me, audience, that we are talking to somebody, because I can get the connection, because we are talking to somebody who is absolutely enlightened. And of course, we all are on a journey. Otherwise, you would not have been doing the kind of things which you are doing. When I wrote my first book, Sachidanandji, the tagline is, and now you spoke about this Latur incident. No surprises that we are listening to somebody who has gone through this journey and who has got a deep-rooted, strong purpose to do something great to make this world better. When I say the world, I mean the world of corporate, the world of HR, the world of society. I mean society at large, and also the field of music, because we are going to listen to you a bit on music as well. So the adversity is the mother of transformation. I think this was this moment in Latur which transformed you. And I have always told people that, you see, adversity is the mother of transformation. And I think we can write a book on that, not one, but many books on life of Sachidanandji. Amazing talking to you, listening to you. So would you like to share something about one thing, which is very interesting? I have seen that there are many CHROs who would join a company and they would be with that company throughout their life. And there are people who want to spread the knowledge, the shine of knowledge across many companies. How does it feel when you get a feeling that you are adding value in the field of HR while working with multiple companies? And how do you make it happen? Because it's very inspiring. I think if you ask me, this is one thing which makes you absolutely unique. And I really love this idea. SRKG, I really love this idea. I wish there are more people who can step out of their comfort zone and do something so that they can spread their shine to a wider and larger part of it.
So the story goes 2015, 2016.
Okay.
I was reading a lot about why startups fail fast, or why founders fight, or there are so many startups that were mushrooming in our country in last 7, 8 years, 10 years that you see. But at the same time, at a speed at which they were either falling, or founders departing, or they not scaling beyond 2 to 3 years, right? And then they're winding up. So and I was constantly studying this because I was myself working with very young founders and webinars, very passionate guys who were building this company. And so I also got inspired a lot by founders of webinars, to be very honest, of how a young team can come together and build an organization. And my research during that time sort of was pushing me that I if I spend time in just one full-time job in one company, I would limit my impact. I would be able to do as a HR only as much as needed for that company. And there will be always limitations of every organization to do how much they can do in HR and what they can do for HR, right? At the same time, when my thinking was forming that I want to quit and start on my own and sort of capitalize my skills and competencies and go on the ground and work with young entrepreneurs and help them build right people formula so that they are able to build a sustainable and scalable business. Because one thing that I was sure by that time, by my study, research and all, that business is not about business. Business is about capability, energy and effort of people who work in that business. So if these three things are not in sync, not in harmony, that is capability of people, energy of those people and efforts that those people put using their capability, right? And energy is a factor which you may call it motivation in common language. So motivation on energy that channelizes the capability of humans to put effort, and unless you put effort, there's no result, there is no impact, as we know. So this formula was not letting me sit quite in one job. I wanted to move out, work with entrepreneurs to understand that your business is not about your funding, your business is not about a just product idea or a services that you provide or which geography and all that. It is about who are the people with whom you are working, and are they capable, do they have energy, and are they willing to put unconditional efforts, discretionary efforts. So one fine day, I was guest lecturer at IIT Kanpur, and I was flying back from Delhi to Pune during this time. And in a flight, person next to me was a MD of one big company in Pune. I typically, मेरा स्वभाव है, तो I extend a hand, get introduced quickly to anybody. By the time we landed in Pune, we became very good friend. Fortunately, our common interest was Indian classical music. तो इतने गप्पे हुए शास्त्रीय संगीत के बारे में ये वो. And then he somehow spotted me, my what I can do for him, and he said, next week can we meet? And next week he offered me to be a consultant to advise his company. And that was the period I was also going through, that I want to quit and start. And that's how my journey began. I went to founder of Webonize to resign, the Saurav Mishra, and he said, what do you want to do? So I said, I want to start HR consulting. He said, we will be your first client. We will not hire your replacement. So Webonize and Saurav had been very kind and great support, and they incubated, in fact, Sachidanand Consultings in Webonize. So Webonize, I worked as a full-time VP HR for 3 years, and post that 5 years, I continued as a consulting CHRO for them, and that level of trust and synergy we had among founders and me. And then that's how Sachidanand kicked off. I worked out of Webonize office for Webonize and my other clients. The other client, Astute, whom I met, MD Mr. Shekhar Gokhale in flight, became my client for next 1.5 year. That's how the journey started, Arun. And in last 6 years, we worked for about 34, 35 different logos, tried to understand their business problems, people problems, helped those entrepreneurs to, carve out a formula for success. So indeed, it is every day, everything that I do is inspiring. I don't feel burden of my work. I don't feel, oh my God, आज बहुत काम हो गया, very big day, very long day. Oh, it's Friday. Oh, it's Monday. All that doesn't happen with me. Every single hour that I spend in conversation is not reciprocating to me, and it teaches me and challenges me enough. So
beautiful. No, I think, as you rightly said, that once you do something out of passion, out of purpose, and once you are in the field which belongs to you, or the field which you belong to, be it Monday or Sunday, it's all full of fun, I think. And while still you're working for maybe, I don't know, countless number of hours, I think.
So one route of consulting also goes to credit to Nihilant. When I was in Nihilant, South Africa, I was looking after overseas HR function for about 2.5 years in Johannesburg.
Oh,
Nihilant Technologies, yeah. And 1 year out of that, there was opportunity that we carved out just looking at a local newspaper, that MTN South Africa was rolling out a digitization project across their retail houses in South Africa. And I happened to say to my sales guy, and that is what I meant in that LinkedIn conference you attended 10 years back, interviewed, that why HR should understand business. In local newspaper, I spotted that they were digitizing their shops, and that would mean some 3,500 their sales guys would have affected with the new technology solution. And I told to a sales guy of Nihilant, hey, why don't we look at there definitely is opportunity for designing a learning and development L&D strategy for this rollout. Because without a L&D strategy, without a new solution, it is going to impact the end user of that solution. And it was existing account of Nihilant. So this guy went, talked, and they said, definitely we're looking for a consultant like that. And in 2011 and 12 and 12.5, 1.5 year, I was billable consultant through Nihilant for MTN.
Wow.
First time as a HR, I got myself billed, and that sort of after 1.5 year, that opportunity built confidence in me that in future, maybe I can see if I can explore opportunities as a consultant, and that worked out.
Amazing, amazing. I always believe, and of course, I think many people know about it, but I don't know how many people actually believe in this. People talk about law of attraction, the books like The Secret and all that.
Yeah.
See, if you have got some thought process that someday you want to reach out to more people, somehow, you start seeing people sitting beside you, having given you an offer. You start seeing that in your own organization. When you are in South Africa, you start getting some kind of proposals and things start falling together. It's amazing. Going by law of attraction, again, I can see another connection which I am just getting to know. Probably you might have known about a guy called Vaibhav Raj Singh. Neeland, South Africa. He was my batchmate from VIT.
Oh, okay.
He was my batchmate. He was my townmate. We were born in the same town. Actually, I know him very. So now
Vaibhav was project manager in Net
project
Bank.
manager. Yeah, very Dheer Gambhir guy. Very Dheer Gambhir guy. I don't know how easy. I think it has been decades since I spoke with him. Yeah. Beautiful. This is it's a connected world. Coming to the role of CHROs, because you have worked in various companies and you are currently working with various companies, various CEOs and various HR teams and employees. If it comes to talking about a few qualities which any CHRO must possess, of course, I have got something, but I won't say. We are all going to listen to you. Which are those qualities which you think any CHRO must possess? Because if there is one person who is in the best position to answer to this question, it's you, because you have been in this area so deeply.
Yeah. So instead of qualities, I will call it a competency.
Competency, yeah, please.
And there are two key things that I feel as a CHRO that any organization wants to benefit out of having a CHRO. Or in other words, a board or a CEO, if they expect something from a CHRO, there are things that are very important for CHRO. One is the business acumen skill.
Right.
So as a CHRO, your ability to understand vision of the organization, vision of the leaders, vision not per se a theoretical vision, but also a practical side of that vision. So converting a vision into achievable goals. So your ability to understand the part of vision, how does it build, and what does it take to enable that vision, which is people side, because vision otherwise is only a statement.
Absolutely.
Strategy otherwise is only a PowerPoint or an Excel sheet.
Which is nothing, which means nothing, right?
So what puts the life in it is the capability, competency, energy, and effort of organizations' human resources. So the second competency of a CHRO is supposed to be your ability to channelize energy of your human resources, competency of your human resources, to put efforts in right direction so that that strategy and vision is achieved. Otherwise, one side you have human resources, you might call you have hired best people in the world, you have paid best salaries in the world, and one side you have your leader's vision. But if you look at the organization's performance and you find a correlation between capability, competency, effort, and performance of your human resource versus the organization performance, if that is not correlating, that means CHROs have not done their job. And I'm sure there are multiple aspects of success of business, not just people and HR, but that is out of your purview. As a HR, what is in my purview as a CHRO? Am I able to capitalize on capability and competency of my human resources? And my human resources means right from a reception security guard to a CEO and a board. Am I being a sound board to them in terms of people strategies, people practices? Am I brutally honest about what is working, what is not working in terms of performance? Am I playing advisory role to my CXOs to help them navigate through success of business? So in nutshell, we have to be GPS of organization as a CHRO. Okay. In other words, not a geographical positioning system, but a guru positioning system. You need to play a role of Chanakya to make sure that your Chandragupta Maurya, your leader is really making an impact in the market and your organization is succeeding. Organization is respected by the market, that wow, what a company. And I think that's the role we need to play. There will be challenges, there will be ups and downs, there will be different mindset of leaders, Some may want you to really do that. Some may want you to only look at hiring, firing and all. Some may want you to be only HR as a administrative function. But that is those leaders' incapability to understand HR's power. But why is it their incapability? Because HR has not been able to go and influence the power of HR.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
So we need to, as a HR, also evangelize our own work of how do we impact business through people practices. And if we don't sell that, if we only go to CEOs for budget approvals for Zumba and cubicle decoration and you outing and all of that, we will remain event managers. We will remain a fancy stuff. So I think I'm being a bit hard about it, but these are 2-3 very important aspects that I realized not when I was in full-time career as HR, but also post. Now in consulting, CEOs open up more to me, right? And they share their expectations, what they expect from a HR function.
Yeah.
And very clearly CEOs expect CHROs to be their co-partner in the business, to help them achieve what they want to achieve for organization through people practices.
Absolutely right, because you used some phrase which is very powerful a phrase. You spoke about being brutally honest about what is right, what is not right for the company, and the CHRO, for that matter, any HR professional must have this competence, conviction, and courage and clarity to be able to reach out to people and tell them while still smiling, while still being respectful, that see, these are the things which are not making sense. I think this is where I wanted to talk a bit about courage. I know that you are one person who has humbly not spoken about it, but you are one person who is the living example of courage, because I have heard you and the way I have seen you working. What I see is that when it comes to courage, I think people are not exactly there. Maybe people are more into kind of, maybe it's the entire, the pointer starts pointing towards HR only, because it's something which they have to do. They have to build their conviction, their confidence, their ability. And as you rightly said, that if HR only remains a team which is only going to the CEO while looking for some budget for some of these programs, they will certainly not have these credentials, which is so important for CEO to listen to them. When they go to them while still smiling, they give a feedback or whatever. I'm just using the word feedback and tell them about what is right for the organization. I think that's where we need more of people like SRK to be in these positions. Excellent. Would you like to talk a bit about Sachidanand Consulting? Because I think it has been doing some wonderful work in various fields. If you can share something about the work and the mission and vision, whatever you feel like.
So January 17, we registered initially as a proprietorship, and within a year or so, we moved to LLP. Sachidanand's mission is enabling and empowering entrepreneurs and organizations. That's what my motto or line is. So when I'm enabling and empowering, through what? Because I'm not the one who is going to advise on which product you should build or which services you should give as to an entrepreneur. But whatever is the dream of that entrepreneur or the CEO or the service that you want to deliver and achieve, what makes it? What is that formula, the chemistry that you need to put in place in organization that will enable the success of that vision? And as I said, that formula at the root cause, if you go and find out, it remains people. It is not about resources of, how much funding is available and how much, other help is available and all that. If you looked at organizations which are very small, they have started, entrepreneurs at a very adverse situation, they have started and have grown to multi-million companies. And the formula goes to very simple: how aspirational you are about your vision, growth, what is the commitment for that vision, then is the capability, competency of whether it is leaders or employees. Then it is energy, the motivation that you bring to. And the last, as I said, are you able to use these 3 ingredients and put a effort? And which effort? Not Gada Mazduri. Effort is discretionary effort. That everything that you do is resulting in something, right? And your ability to reevaluate and go back. So Sachidanand is right now working on assignments where we are able to question organizations on their old existing formulas, that okay, what needs to rework in your chemistry within your organization, what needs to be revitalized in terms of culture, people practices, and leadership. Because finally everything comes down to a leader, the quality of a leader and competency of a leader. You may bring best of the processes, policies, you may be 10 times great place to work certified company, but at the same time you are not growing as an organization, you are stagnated. you are not moving, you are not making impact to your people's life, you're not able to satisfy your employees as well as your shareholders, then what to do with any certifications? So Sachke is right now working with founders and CXOs on decoding. Why did they even started? Was it only, so is it about only making some, is it only about making some numbers, or is there a larger purpose for a CEO?
Yeah.
And if there is a larger purpose, how do you build that in an organization?
Absolutely.
If you look at one of my favorite books is Firms of Endearment, okay, by Raj Sisodia. So do you want to become a firm of endearment, or you want to be just one more enterprise, make your money, pay your taxes, exit, make your own personal numbers, and then आए क्या और गए क्या फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, right? So what kind of vision you are chasing as an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
So getting into that sort of shoes of an entrepreneur, decoding his or her mindset as a leader and sort of shaping that towards right, because unless that shapes, you cannot really help organization grow. Rest 25% of role of HR is making right process, policies, compliances. They have 75%. Right now, our focus is how do we help CXOs think to build a purpose-driven organization, build a sustaining businesses, whether you are there tomorrow or not there. Not just business should run, but it should have added value to people, society, nation at large. So one of the hidden purpose of such case is also to build this nation back to contribute to world's largest economy once again, that we were for 1750 years of last 2000 years, we were the largest world's economy.
Yeah.
Last 200, maybe 250 years, we have lost that position. And only entrepreneurs can get us back to world's fastest growing economy and to the world's largest economy. So my one of the hidden motto mission that drives me is, can I in my lifetime help those entrepreneurs who can contribute to build the nation larger? So I hope
this is very powerful. I'm just reflecting on some of the things which you said, which are so powerful. You said one thing, that it's just one person actually. Ultimately, it all comes to the one person who is heading the organization. Because what I have seen is that normally when people read this sentence, I think something which people have read somewhere, that it's just one person who makes all the change. But normally people think of Gandhiji or Martin Luther King Jr. or Swami Ramdev or some of these people. Actually, everybody can make a difference. And this is absolutely true. So there are 2 points. The first point is that we all have the powers which can change the world. It's just that we need to realize the power. That's a different topic on which I have spoken. So we'll have a separate call on that. Sure. Second point is very important, that it's always about one person at the top, because one person who makes all the changes. I have worked in, and I think I am pretty sure that you know it. I've worked in multinationals. I've worked in some of these well-known, reputed organizations. I've seen that irrespective of all the vision and values and this and that, it always comes to one person. One person changes at the top, and the practices change drastically, while the same set of values are still hanging on the wall. In case of one person, the values used to be the norm of living and working on day-to-day basis. In the second person's case, maybe the value of courage is hanging, but people who show courage, they are shot down. And I've seen this happening in organizations in broad daylight. So it's very interesting. So it also brings me to another point. So let me take a very twisted question a question which is a little hypothetical question. Suppose, SRK, you are given the responsibility to hire a CEO. Okay. One of those people who value you a lot and your expertise. How would you approach this subject? Which are those qualities or competencies which you would look for? And how would you test this competence? Let's have some fun talk, because I think it's very interesting subject. How do you see that you get a good CEO? Because that's the most important decision. Once we get the right person in, he will be like a person who is self-driven. Then as the board or as CHR, we just have to support him whenever I think things will happen, because he's supporting you in all these areas. So how do you, if I have qualities which you look for?
So if I have to choose a CEO on 2 parameters, I would interview or choose or look at whether those are present. One for me is whether the CEO himself or herself as an individual, not a business head, I'm saying, individually, what is the person's aspiration beyond, for just a sort of a success. Whether the individual has a larger vision, purpose, goal for why even he exists or she exists, and what does he or she wants to capitalize on that experience and knowledge and competency the person has acquired over the period of time. Let us say interviewing a 20 years experienced person. Does that person have the next 10 years aspiration, vision, goal larger than his life or her life? If that vision and aspiration itself is missing, then the person is looking for a job and is trying to find out aspiration from the job. That means his or her actions will be limited to the job description. Okay.
Yeah.
So CEO or a leader of a business needs to have larger than a life purpose. So that's one quality that I would try to find out whether the person wants to really make some impact in the world. Let us say a word like which I possess this dream constantly, and I'm trying my best to voice it around: beggarless India. I would not, in my lifetime, can there be a day that on Signal there is nobody asking for 1 rupee coin in this country. If my country was, किसी जमाने में उसको अगर सोने की चिड़िया कहा जाता था, वो सोने की चिड़िया का मतलब क्या है? The day that nobody is sleeping without a food in this country, people have twice a day meal and a shelter for a home and a work for their hand. That is the day that as a leader, then I can happily live in this country.
Wow.
Then I can call myself a leader.
Absolutely.
So every leader, whether you are a private business leader or you are a political leader or you are a social leader or you are a spiritual leader, everybody's effort finally has to be in that direction, that no human beings are sleeping hungry in this nation. So this is just an example I'm saying.
Very good. Very good.
Do I see a leader like that I want to fulfill dreams of my people who will work in my organization? I want them to achieve more in their lifetime. As a company, I want to contribute 1% of GDP of my nation as a taxation from my company. Dreams like that. Can I connect my balance sheet and my income tax to the GDP of my nation? Wow. You would not see these kind of KRA's competencies in CEOs, right? If CEOs are measured today on percentage of profitability and net gross profit and post taxes EBITDA kya hai tumhara, if I am asked to design a KRA and a numbers for a CEO, I will put this parameter. My nation's GDP is 1% should come from taxes paid from your company. That level you should take your company to. And that's the situation of Apple today. Look at the revenue and taxes paid by Apple today in America. That's why it becomes a significant organization to make a movement in the country. You become a policy driver. You become the dream organization. You become a backbone of your nation. So that's one. And second, so one is aspiration, is the highest competency quality that a leader needs to have. And aspiration not limited to job description.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is first. And the second important quality is to achieve those aspirations, your ability to influence human beings. You cannot influence anything, the right or wrong, or whatever in your vision.
Absolutely, I know I'm getting your point. Yeah,
vision as a leader, if your ability to influence others, your others have to come and join your vision, because your vision itself is noble. Your purpose as a CEO, whatever you take up as an initiative is a noble. You are not just doing it for sake of branding. You're not just doing something as sake of posting it on a LinkedIn, somebody will like you. You're doing it because your purpose behind that is to take your organization to next level. And when you take organization, means you are taking your people. So so-called that promised land as a leader you promise through your talks, in reality are you able to influence people? और इसका एक क्लासिक उदाहरण हमारे हिस्ट्री में है शिवाजी महाराज का. छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज का जो विजन स्टेटमेंट था स्वराज्य का, एज यू नो, एक वर्ड है जो महाराज ने सबको दिया था. एक ही वर्ड है बस, कोई दूसरा स्टेटमेंट नहीं, विजन नहीं, मिशन नहीं, कुछ नहीं, स्वराज्य. एंड इस एक वर्ड ने people were ready to give their blood and life for Shivaji Maharaj. How was he able to drive it? Lakhs and lakhs of people, families gave their young boys for Swaraj. And in those adverse time, if you just take any one story of his life, you can imagine what a leader can make an impact.
Let's listen a little more on this. This is a very profound topic. Maybe we can have another, I think we can have 2-3 series of conversations with you. But while talking about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Ji, and his leadership lessons. Of course, people have got some idea, but we are talking to somebody who has got deep-rooted conviction and passion in this subject. Would you like to share something about some of the lessons which people can take in corporates from the life? And
I've been studying Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's life from HR perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was fortunate.
Actually, I've seen you delivering some talks and also putting some posts on this.
No,
So
I was fortunate to.
around that.
In fact, I was fortunate to share this and take some guidance and direction from late Shri Babasaheb Purandareji during few of my interactions with him. I'll tell you one story that what a leader can really make an impact. A very, very known story of, if you all have heard, and there was a very recent picture on Pawankhand in Marathi. Pawankhand is the place very near from Satara, Kolhapur.
Yes.
And Shivaji Maharaj was sort of, covered by these Mughal armies. Vijapur का जो आदिल शाह था, उनकी जो सेना थी, and there's a fort called Panhala in Kolhapur.
Panhala Fort, Panhala, yeah.
So Panhalacha Vedha is the famous story in Marathi, right? Which was all under the custody of this Sardar, and Shivaji Maharaj was stuck there for about 7-8 months.
Yeah.
Heavy rains, was not able to come out of it. Only 700-800 people, around 1,000 people on top with him. And after 8-9 months, eventually you will run out of food and all. Unless he escapes from there, there was no choice. So how do you go from there? इतने सारे 40-50 हजार लोगों का पहरा लगा हुआ है फोर्ट पे, आप उससे कैसे निकलोगे? तो प्लानिंग होता है, प्लानिंग बनता है and all of that. तो one fine night, they decide कि इस रात को निकलना है. Who will lead the project? So as एक तो शिवाजी महाराज का पूरा प्रोजेक्ट और लाइफ ही इतना इंस्पायरिंग है कि उनके लिए तो लोग जान देने के लिए तैयार थे.
बिल्कुल.
तो because his employees were not employees. there was no policy कि तुम कितने टाइम पे आ रहे हो. Everything was voluntarily aligned to the value and vision of the organization. Everybody had voluntarily signed for that organization कि मैं इस स्वराज्य के लिए जान दे दूंगा बस.
तानाजी मालुसरे and many examples.
तानाजी मालुसरे का स्टोरी आप तानाजी एज ए मूवी देखोगे जो अजय देवगन का बना है. So it talks about kind of people that Shivaji Maharaj built, and this was only because the purpose was noble. When the purpose of leader is noble, what leader is pursuing or what leader wants to achieve, when that is noble and it is for everybody and not for the shareholder of the company and only board of the company and the CEO of the company, it is for the people, then people are ready to do anything beyond their job descriptions. And there is a character called this Baji Prabhu Deshpande who leads this whole journey of Pawankhand. I recommend every CHRO HR person should watch this movie 3-4 times at least. And
what is the name of the movie?
Pawankhand.
Pawankhand. Okay, it's the name of the movie.
Pawankhand. It's the name of a small two-sided mountain जिसमें से इतने सा रास्ता है 4 लोग जाने के लिए. उसको खिंड बोलते हैं मराठी में.
Yes.
इतने छोटे से रास्ते में से वो निकले. उसका नाम बाद में वो पावन बनी, इसलिए उसको पावनखिंड कहा जाता है. तो वहां से बाजी प्रभु देशपांडे 350-400 लोगों की शिवाजी महाराज की टीम लेके पन्हाड़ा से नीचे उतरते हैं रात को 12 बजे के बाद. उतने हेवी रेन्स में इन 4 months दे फाइंड आउट कि कहाँ से उतरना है, कहाँ वो कम है उनकी सेना अपोजिशन पार्टी की, कि जहां से हम एस्केप हो सके. अंधेरे में रात के 12 बजे अमावस्या के दिन, लाइट नहीं उस जमाने में, रास्ता पता नहीं, 300 लोग लेके उतरना. वो अपोजिट डायरेक्शन से उतरते हैं नीचे, और एक डायरेक्शन से एक शिवाजी महाराज का सच्चा सिपाही शिवा काशीद नाम का, वो शिवाजी महाराज का वेश धारण करता है, पालखी में बैठ के 10 लोग लेके उसको नॉर्मल रास्ते से उतरते हैं ताकि शत्रु उनको पकड़े, शत्रु को लगे कि हमने शिवाजी को पकड़ा है. और वो दिखता शिवाजी महाराज जैसा था. उसका फॉर्च्यून देखो लाइफ में. एंड ही इज विलिंग टू सैक्रिफाई हिज लाइफ, क्योंकि शत्रु उसको पकड़ के 8-10 घंटा टाइम पास हो जाएगा, तब तक शिवाजी महाराज, रियल शिवाजी महाराज एस्केप हो जाएंगे. तो एक लीडर के लिए गोइंग बियॉन्ड अ लाइफ, मतलब इधर ग्रेट एम्प्लॉय का भी एग्जाम्पल है और ग्रेटेस्ट लीडर का भी एग्जाम्पल है. एंड फिर शिवाजी महाराज एस्केप्स फ्रॉम देयर, बट लुक एट द जर्नी आफ्टर दैट. आप नीचे उतरे हो, 18 से 20 माइल आपको चल के पहाड़ों से जंगल में रात को बारिश में जाना है, और अपने आप को राजा को लेके जाना है. कहाँ तक भागना है? विशालगढ़ तक भागना है. क्यों भागना है? क्योंकि इनको बचाना, इस लीडर को बचाना जरूरी है. शिवाजी महाराज नहीं बचेंगे तो स्वराज नहीं बचेगा. तो शिवाजी महाराज को क्यों बचाना है? बिकॉज इनका जो पर्पस है, इनका जो विजन है, इनका जो मिशन है, वो ही इतना नोबल है कि वो मेरे लिए ही नहीं है, बट मेरे आने वाले पूरे जनरेशंस के लिए वो विजन इतना बड़ा है। तो आज शिवाजी महाराज जिंदा रहना जरूरी है। And then this team puts its life on stake, 400 people, and they carry him from Panagarh to Vishalgarh throughout the night. अथक, मतलब एक क्षण कहीं ये लोग रुके नहीं है, झुके नहीं है। तो यू कैन इमेजिन, आज हम शूज के बिना बाहर नहीं निकलते, घर में हम स्लीपर पहन के घूमने वाले लोग हैं आज के जनरेशन में, घर में, राइट? 12 बजे अमावस्या के दिन एक फोर्ट से उतर रहे हो, उतरने का उतना एफर्ट, दूसरे फोर्ट तक चलने का उतना एफर्ट, और दूसरा फोर्ट फिर चढ़ना है। फिर पता चला कि दूसरे फोर्ट पे वो कहाँ जाने वाले, शत्रु को अंदाज था, तो उधर एक ऑलरेडी दूसरा आदमी खड़ा हुआ है लड़ने के लिए, अगर यहाँ आते तो मैं यहाँ उनको पकड़ लूंगा। और फिर वो एंड करके जगह है जहां फिर 10,000 लोग उनको चेस करते हैं, और फिर वहां बहुत बड़ी घमासान अर्ली मॉर्निंग लड़ाई होती है। इतना भाग दौड़ करके आने के बाद भी फिर बाजी प्रभु देशपांडे 200 लोग लेके वहां खड़े होते हैं शिवाजी महाराज के साथ, वो कुछ लोगों को भेजते हैं। और वहां एक क्षण ऐसा है जो आपको कहना चाहूंगा, शिवाजी महाराज बोलते कि बाजी हम साथ में लड़ेंगे, हम सब लोग लड़ेंगे, जो होना है हो जाएगा। तो बाजी प्रभु, हु इज अ प्रोजेक्ट मैनेजर ऑफ दैट प्रोजेक्ट, advises brutally honestly, that word that I used to Shivaji Maharaj, saying Maharaj आपका जिंदा रहना जरूरी है, आपको अभी मेरा सुनना पड़ेगा, आई एम एग्जीक्यूटर ऑफ दिस प्रोजेक्ट, हम यहाँ लड़ेंगे, हम इनको रोक के रखेंगे, तब तक आप विशालगढ़ जाइए, वहां से आप तोफ जब बजाएंगे तब ही हमारे प्राण जाएंगे, तब तक हम प्राण नहीं छोड़ेंगे। एंड दैट इज व्हाट लिटरली हैपेंस व्हेन ही गोज, और वहां से वो अपना फिर गोला बारूद का आवाज करते हैं, तब यहाँ बाजी प्रभु और अपनी टीम के प्राण न्यौछावर होते हैं। तो ये जो मिशन है, ये जो बड़ा लेसन है इसमें, एज ए लीडर इफ यू स्टडी Shivaji Maharaj and you also study his team, his people, the kind of contribution they put in to build Swarajya, what are these qualities of people? They were also people, today also are people.
Absolutely.
So in organizational context, why we don't see those kind of leaders, and why we don't see therefore those kind of people? What is really missing? तो वो इस कॉन्वर्सेशन में नहीं, कभी हम और बात जरूर।
बहुत ही जोरदार। Actually, I was looking for something. I just wanted to share with you because what you have said is good enough to have half a day. Where have all the leaders gone? There is a book written by Leo Kulkarni.
Interesting title.
Only for the sake of title. Now, see, let's think about it a bit. I've seen companies where, and I always talk about this fact that we do not need companies which have got, and companies are not supposed to have long vision, mission, and a set of 10 values and all that. Because I've actually done it, Sachidanand ji. So what I've done is that like I just ask people to talk about one value. Just give me one word, and let's have 4 hours around this one word.
Yeah.
Swarajya. One, right? One
yes.
vision statement.
One word, yes.
And people are ready to give their life, and there are companies
Absolutely.
which talk about 10 pages of vision and mission which nobody understands, including the person who has formulated and approved the vision statement.
Yeah.
And the way you explain is so, I think you are a great storyteller. I'm pretty sure many people must be getting benefited from your
look at the word, Arun, look at the word Swarajya. Iska jo swa hai na, what does that swa means? Swa means mine.
Yeah.
The moment a vision of organization becomes mine, ये ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ही मैं मेरे लिए बना रहा हूं, खत्म ना भाई। कहाँ शेयर होल्डर, स्टेक होल्डर, market value, this value, that value, doesn't matter now. Company building, because the return is going to be for not only just me now, my generations to come.
Absolutely. And we also, you gave this example of the project leader taking the accountability, and he having this conviction, courage, clarity, and we spoke about some of these qualities. That he says what he said, right? That I'm the project leader, you have to listen to me, because he knows the ultimate objective is very clear in his mind. I know while I started my career with Tata Steel, I know in some of these companies which have got very deep roots. There would be one employee working on the shop floor. And he has been working over the last 20 years with the company, and he's so connected with the company that if he sees something going wrong, he will stop it. Even if he sees CEO walking that path, he will say, sorry, sir, you can't pass because there is something wrong. And people will listen to him, people will respect him. But where have all these project leaders gone? So you tell me, where have all these leaders and project leaders gone? I think this is a big lesson which we are getting from this one story, and this is not a story. I think it's here raising a story.
So the answer to that question, in my view, is our leadership education system. Are we building purposefully such set of leaders? If you look at, apart from MBA, today you don't have a formal education in this world for becoming a business leader.
Unfortunately. Absolutely.
There are business leaders who have not done MBAs and they are great business leaders.
Absolutely.
Right? I'll keep them aside. But otherwise, if you want to really build leaders, where is the formal structure right from a childhood that I want to build my kid to be a great leader? You know, you look at a family, you look at a schooling education system or a college, everybody chasing some marks at the end of the year so that I get a better job, or whatever I do better. But the aspect of leadership in this entire conversation is missing. Leadership from a childhood. Leadership should start from childhood. I think, how can you be forefront, take a lead of your area, take charge of your decisions, make mistakes, move on, and everything that you do, you need to look at the benefit of everyone. Sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, सर्वे संतु निरामया, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, सर्वे सुखनशालिनः, ऐसा एक हमारा संस्कृत में वेदों में श्लोक है. तो द कंट्री ऑफ इंडिया एंड द फिलोसफी ऑफ इंडिया इज बिल्ट ऑन सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः. तो जिसने मतलब अगर वेदव्यास जी ने ये श्लोक लिखा है तो क्या मतलब है इसका? सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः कौन बोल सकता है? एक वही लीडर बोल सकता है जो सबका सुख चाहता है.
बिल्कुल.
सबकी फुलफिलमेंट, सबका हैप्पीनेस, सबका अचीवमेंट चाहता है. इतनी दूर की बात नहीं. मैं सिंपल अपना, आप भी पुणे में है तो ज्ञानेश्वर महाराज, संत ज्ञानेश्वर महाराज आळंदी के थे, उनके पसंद में एक बहुत अच्छा श्लोक है कॉल्ड दुरितांचे तिमिर जाओ, विश्व स्वधर्म सूर्य पाहो, जो जे वांचिल तो थे लाभो प्राणी जात. व्हाट इट मीन्स इज, दुरित माने गरीब, तिमिर माने अंधकार. जो गरीब है, जो पुअर है, जो इग्नोर्ड है, जिनके जीवन में अज्ञानता है, नॉलेज ही नहीं है, कैपेबिलिटी नहीं, कॉम्पिटेंसी नहीं, स्किल नहीं है, उनके जीवन में ज्ञान का प्रकाश आ जाए. जो जय वांछिल तोते लाओ, मैंने जिसकी जी इच्छा हो, जिसकी जो एस्पिरेशंस हो, उसको वो मिले, ये वही लीडर सोच सकता है जो सबके लिए सोच सकता है. इसलिए वसुधैव कुटुंबकम. सो द फिलोसॉफी स्टार्ट्स विद दिस वर्ल्ड हैज टू बी, all of us think for this world, and therefore our actions as leaders has to be purpose driven. Why am I doing this? Am I doing it for limited purpose of some people? Am I doing it for shareholding value? So imagine the Western capitalism philosophy of organization has unfortunately eaten or killed those leaders. The title of that book you showed me.
Absolutely.
Where have all the leaders gone? Ka answer is, the sheer capitalism perspective of a business has taken away the true human leadership. And human leadership is a great topic that our Bob Chapman, who is the author of Everybody Matters. There's a book called Everybody Matters by Bob Chapman, who was famously also endorsed and interviewed by Simon Sinek. तो बॉब चैपमन का एक कंसेप्ट है कॉल्ड ह्यूमन लीडरशिप. तो ह्यूमन लीडरशिप कहाँ आपको नजर आता है? एवरीबडी, अनफॉर्चुनेटली योर बिजनेस इज डिमांडिंग अ लीडर्स टू स्पेंड मोर टाइम ऑन प्रॉफिट, रेवेन्यू, टॉप लाइन, बॉटम लाइन, बैलेंस शीट, एंड then the whole equation is to manage that balance, is whether you
I've been connecting with every word which is.
No, but without taking name, I'll tell you, the company that would advise worldwide, famous for advising organization growth and coaching leaders and success, is firing 15,000-20,000 people. What went wrong?
It's an irony, and what you said is, I can connect with every word which you said, because you said one thing which is very powerful. You said that there are things which in our entire education system, there is a flaw. We are not teaching some of these very basic tenets of how to build a business, how to build yourself, first of all, how to know ourselves. There are so many videos and so many people talking about the fact that the journey within is the most important journey. I recall I attended a 2 days program which I have spoken about. This is my vision board in the backdrop, and purpose and core value. And then when I completed this program for 2 days, almost 18 hours per day, 36 hours we spent, and then I made this vision board, which has been there with me over the last 3 years. I was just wondering, why did we not include this curriculum in Accelerate in some of these best of institutions in the country and of the world? Why? And this I learned from somebody who was not educated in some of these MBA college. Later on, he did his MBA education, but that was only to showcase to the world that I am also MBA. But we know that you spoke about it. There are people who, without formal education, they have created tens of thousands of crores worth companies. Right? This is there. And then I realized that there is something serious, and there is a problem. We can work it out together. I have got this purpose of enabling as many students of this country as possible from MBA colleges, because they're at the right time. They did so that they did not wait till the age of 42 the way I waited before I made this vision. But purpose, core values, strengths, goals, and some of these things which are so important. Maybe we can do this. And I think if we just ensure one thing, and that is, if we just, like you spoke about how to make this country bigger, free country, if we just ensure one thing, that we enable crores of youth of this country to create their own vision board, they will get that focus which we can absolutely see while listening to Sachidanand. Absolutely. Yeah.
I have one point to add here. And I was very recently, last week, I was invited by Vinod, our friend, who was your also guest on last week.
Yeah.
I was in Sakal Media Group and interacting with HR team on some of the skills of HR team. And I was sharing these insights with them. Look at our country. We are 140 crore biological bodies, physical bodies.
Yeah.
Right? America, 40 crore population. America, 40 crore population, $25 trillion economy. And we are 140 crore population and we are $3 trillion economy. Why is this disparity? And if you go to the root cause, and once upon a time we say we have enjoyed being an economic superpower for 1750 years out of last 2000 years, because we were exporting, we were this, that time हमारा population भी कम था. चलो, आज हम उस लेवल पे क्यों नहीं है? Despite being my population 3 times, 4 times more than US. US produces only 1 lakh or 2 lakh engineers per year for $25 trillion economy. India produces 10 to 12 lakh engineer per year for just $3 trillion economy.
Absolutely.
So 90-95% my literate population of my country, and I have a $3 trillion economy. Why? The simple answer is I have human resources as bodies. Do I have them skilled enough? One. And even if they have a skill, do they have aspiration to do something with that skill?
Absolutely. You said it. I think you had said right in the beginning of this conversation.
So you may have a literate and educated population, but if it is not aspirant enough, it does not want to convert its skill and education into effort and therefore achieve outcome of that effort, it will remain a country like that.
Absolutely.
Whereas, what is the potential? I should be double than US. I should be $15 trillion economy. If my population is that and my educated population is more than that.
You get the example. If you go back to the example of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, so there are 1,000 people, maybe a few thousand people, which is outnumbered by these 40-50,000 enemies, and still on the name of for the vision of Swaraj, they are so deeply connected that they outwit all their enemies. I think that is the power which we have to.
No, I feel to openly challenge this to our Prime Minister, that why you have even dream of $5 trillion economy, you should have a dream of $25 trillion economy and $50 economy, because I am 3 times more population than America. I should be 3 times more than America in terms of my GDP. Why am I not there? ठीक है, past जो हुआ होगा. It is the formula of competency, energy, and effort of human resources of this nation.
Absolutely, Sachidanand ji, and I think I'm absolutely right. And what I've seen is that, of course, there are many books and many people who have spoken about. There are many videos on the topic of peak performance. I know for sure that I'm yet to meet a person who is actually working at his true potential, true level that he can actually work. And people can actually work at 10 times, 20 times, 100 times. It's just a number. And compared to the level that people are working at. And of course, I think purpose has to be there. There's to focus, and some of these things which you spoke about, the values. People should know themselves, their strengths, and then alignment of strengths and purpose with the field in which they are going to put their time. I think we all know there are I think in this country, people have to take a decision about the field in which they want to build their career even before they get their driving license. Now, this is too early a time because I know life is something which is going to test you. You have to do a lot of things before you know which are the things which belong to you. I think I know that you know what we're discussing because you have been in different fields and you know what is the power of taking actions. I
So
think it's a very powerful
how do
topic
we
which you're talking.
inspire? How do we, as a leaders, constantly? How do you inspire every section of the society, whether it is your organization, family, society, or a nation? One thing that leadership's most important, essential role is to constantly inspiring people to aspire for more.
Absolutely.
If
Inspired
you
to aspire for more.
inspire to aspire more, and if your all level of leadership, whether social leadership, political leadership, family leadership, education leadership, misses this important role, then you may have a great population. You may claim your demographic evident on all your world's forum. You may talk as a political leader everywhere ke hamare paas to young Bharat hai, but if they are not aspirant enough, they are only
They are.
qualified people.
Absolutely.
They are only educated, qualified people.
And absolutely, absolutely. Very nicely
As a
said.
HR, at least what can we do? Can I change entire nation? Not. Then can I change my organization? Can I help people in my company to aspire more? If they aspire more, they will put more effort, build their competencies, help companies.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what I have seen is the fact that once we transform ourselves, we can transform not only the company, we can also transform the country also and society also. And I think the kind of work which you are doing. But there is a route through which, and probably we can join hands and we can do something to reach out to as many people as possible. Now let's come to, because we are already more than 1 hour and it has been so engrossing conversation. I feel like being there with you for another 1 hour, but I know I have to respect your time. We can't close this conversation unless we talk about your love for music and your inspired meeting with some of these highly inspiring people like Amol Palekar and other people. Vikram Gokhale, I still recall that serial called Udan in my childhood days, where he had played the role of the father. He was so super inspiring. Would you like to share something about your contribution to the field of music and how you have been spending some time in this field?
So, of course, meeting with Amol, not Amol Palekarji, sorry, that picture was with Nana Patekar that you just
Nana Patekar, I have seen a picture with Vikram Gokhale also. Yeah.
Vikram Kaka. So very recently we lost him. Meeting with Nana Patekar was sheer out of my interest to contribute back. So there are three words when I walked out of my Gurukul of RSS, I told you, right, during my childhood. Every mentor does give you one or two formulas before you walk out of the Gurukul. So the three words that my mentor gave me was connect, collaborate, and contribute. Wow. Okay, and that is what I have always followed in my life. Connect with people is build solid relationship with other human being, right? Collaborate for everything possibly that you can collaborate for, and contribute whatever it is. So a day when I saw on a news Nana Patekar ji and Makarand Anaspure both launched Naam Foundation. From my network, Makarand was connected with some of my musical network people. So I took his number and phoned him. So he answered my phone and I said, Makarand Dada, I'm Sachidanand Kulkarni. I'm a HR head of so-and-so software company. Yeah, that's the picture with Nana Patekar. And this is at his home.
Beautiful. I think I would also like to join.
Just behind Film Institute of Pune. That's where he has his house as well.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So I phoned him and said, under CSR activity, I want to build a website for Naam Foundation, something that you have started today, but it needs to be accessed by the world. And web is a very important thing for you to people to reach out to Naam Foundation, to talk about what you are going to do. So he said, come down and meet me tomorrow. I am shooting in Deccan College. This is how this connect, collaborate, contribute happens. I went, I met I met Makarand first. And then he said, okay, I will talk this to Nana today evening and I'll call you. So he understood what we wanted to do for him. At no charge, we wanted to build a website when I was in Webinize Lab under a CSR activity. Next day evening, he phoned me that, hey, why don't you come tomorrow? Or this is Nana Patekar's address. You come to his home. I have spoken to Nana. Next day morning, we went to Nana's house. You can imagine that, when you're invited by his host, meeting him himself is a very great legend artist.
Yeah, legendary actor. Yeah.
And an hour with Nana was inspiring. One is he's a great reader, a lead reader, apart from artist as we know and actor as we know. full of books in his house, and that zapped me really how much he reads. So he spent time with us about an hour. He explained his vision for NAM Foundation, and we went back in 24 hours, hackathon mode. We built a website for NAM Foundation. Okay. And then next, after 2 days, we went and again presented. He did some corrections. We went back and then we delivered. And for almost 3-4 years, we were maintaining and updating and all. And we were part of that tech team structure. And I was fortunate to interact with all of them and got inspired. And you see the team there. So the left-hand side to me is Vijay Kumbhar, who is tech founder of Webanize, one of the founder. The other side is Madhvi, his wife, as well as lead on a project. And then Atul Jadhav, who was also one of our sales.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Which year was that?
This was 2016.
Ah, okay.
Looks like 2016, yeah.
Beautiful, amazing.
So you want to contribute to something genuinely. Within a week, I was in Nana's home. What it only assures you that if you want to really contribute, things will fall. वो आपका डायलॉग है ना शाहरुख खान वाला, किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहो तो पूरी कायनात जीत जाती है. तो वो that कायनात happened immediately. You know, you want to do something, okay, come, well, you are welcome.
No, I can see that, and also knowing you as a person, I think you're reaching out to so many people where together you can connect with them. You can cooperate.
About to share, and with Dr. Vikram Gokhleji or Vikram Kaka, we call all of him. He stays in Bavdan, very next society where Webanize office was. And one fine morning he was walking, and I was reaching office early for some reason. I crossed path, shook hand, and talked. He said, "Why don't you come home?"
I think he's there. I'll put this picture.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, this is the picture.
You can see this society, right? This is where he stays in Bavdan. He had his
This is very close to my place, yeah.
Very close. And then I introduced myself. He said, "You are coming to my house next Sunday." He said, "I'm back in Pune. I'll tell you." He needed some assistance from me. And I said, "Aapke liye main kuch kar sakta hu, it will be my pleasure."
Yeah.
There was somebody from his network to whom some guidance was needed on career and job and all that.
Yeah.
Which I, sort of guided them, and they also got placed somewhere. So he was very kind about that. After that, for 3-4 of our programs, when invited, he came and blessed us and was quite. In fact, one of the NGO that I have been part of core team, he came and contributed, and he also shared time with kids. So great. So these page 3 meetings have been happening with me some my life a lot. I mean, even if I don't decide it, it happens. It happens. I just bump into a.
This is so inspiring, Sachidanand ji. I appreciate it. So inspiring. Now let's talk a bit about music, because you've been deeply engaged with this field. Yeah.
So Indian classical music. My grandfather, as I said, he studied under guidance of Swami Ramanand ji, a great scholar. So my grandfather, by birth, I think he had knowledge of classical music. He used to play harmonium. Later, during my childhood, I didn't get chance to learn that. Being from a village, that side was hardly any facility available. But when I came in Pune for a job, I used to attend these Indian classical music programs in Pune, especially Savai Gandharv Sangeet Mahotsav that happens, which is a world's biggest classical music fest that happens. Very recently, 67th Savai happened, which was started by Pandit Bhimsen Joshi ji.
Wow.
In the memory of his guru, Savai Gandharv ji. So, and then that built my interest again. Then I used to stay in Aun Sangvi area, so I started attending Kalashri Sangeet Mandal's lot of program. And 10-12 years back, my relationships with Pandit Sudhakar Chauhan ji, who is founder of Kalashri Sangeet Mandal, eventually he wanted me to be part of the core team, so I became trustee at Kalashri Sangeet Mandal.
Wow.
The last 12 years, what we're trying to do is, in a year, about 4 to 5 classical programs we host in Pune.
Yeah.
I myself love to anchor program, interview some of these great artists who have spent their life learning the classical music. Being that in that aura is completely different, believe me. And I'm also volunteer to Savai Gandharv Music Festival from last 10 years. So I'm very closely connected with that family, Bhimsen Joshi's family. And we all as a volunteers, sort of make sure that this program succeeds. So 5 days in a year dedicated to that ground where the greatest music of the world is being played. So meeting and connecting with these artists, supporting young artists to come on our platform, perform. And I really get immersed the moment any favorite of raga of mine starts playing. I feel like hours sitting and just listening to them, and then you really connect to your core as a human. That's the power of
So
classical
beautiful,
music.
so beautiful. I'm so inspired to listen to somebody who has last more than 1 hour this morning. It's beautiful, inspiring Sunday morning, who actually is living life in all its facets, all its aspects. I have seen many people who have lived only for their company and maybe some time with their family. When that time they are not able to give for many decades. And here is a person who has been living life in all aspects, be it music, be it corporate HR and the leadership lessons which you spoke about. And yeah, Sauli. So would you like to talk a bit about the 4-line poems which you have written?
Yeah, so of course during school days there was some inspiration to write, and then in college the inspiration became much aggression rather, that okay, I should write. And I was also inspired by this book called Me Maza Puna Me Maza, written by Chandrasekhar Gokhale. He was a very famous among college students across our Marathi. If you know, he used to write 4-liners book which is called Charoli in Marathi. Charoli means charoli.
Wow.
It started writing in college and continued almost till last 3-4 years back, and last 2-3 years because of business and the schedule, I write less, but I used to write enough earlier. So it's been a passion, and poems actually let you express your core feelings that you go through about anything.
Absolutely.
For that matter.
Absolutely.
So and then one fine day I decided, during the college time I had written around 400 plus 4-liners.
Wow.
So my first salary I wanted to reserve to publish my own book, and that's how it happened.
Okay.
So close to about 20 years back, when I joined Wipro first in my career, is when I published Savli. The name of the book is Savli. Savli means shadow.
Wow. Amazing, Sachidanand ji. It has been an amazing morning for the audience. And I've just been listening to the kind of very empowering and inspiring thoughts which you shared. So audience, now we are back to one last question, which I always ask all the guests, and that is about books. So we write a book on your life and career so far. What do you think would be the title of the book? Of course, I think you are a person who has got many books.
Hard question. Book on my life. But yeah, I mean, if the title has to be, then it is maybe Village to Privilege.
Wow.
So
awesome. Beautiful, beautiful title. So, it's amazing title. It's an amazing title. Now I ask another question, next question, and that is to talk about a few chapters. I think let's discuss that as well for one next few seconds. I think I know time is gone. Sure. Would you like to talk about a couple of chapters? What would be the title of some of the chapters from the same book?
So if it is Village to Privilege, as I said my life has only evolved around these 3 words so far, and I'm sure rest of the life will evolve around this: is connect, collaborate, and contribute. I want to unconditionally connect with people, build great human relationships, collaborate for right purpose of this life, and I want to contribute to make sure that I'm some contributor to somebody's life and make them achieve something, make them feel better. If I can be of help, I think that is what I would like to do. So if I have to sum it in 3 chapters, these will be the 3 chapters: how to build, connect,
beautiful. I can see the
and how to contribute.
I can visualize the book. Like मैं देख रहा हूँ पन्नों को फटफटाते हुए. I can see that.
एक spiritual journey जो शुरू हुआ है कुछ सालों से, 4-5 साल से. As I said you, I've been student of philosophy of Sriman Madhvacharya. So India's philosophy was influenced by these 3 great saints. One, Adi Shankaracharya ji, then Ramanujacharya ji, and then third, Sriman Madhvacharya. Okay. So I'm studying his philosophy of Dvaita school of philosophy, जिसको बोलते हैं द्वैत सिद्धांत, जैसे अद्वैत सिद्धांत था वैसे द्वैत सिद्धांत. And there is a lot to learn and follow and make meaning of this life is what I'm trying to.
Wow. No, I'm pretty sure we are going to have more conversations because इतना मतलब मुझे अच्छा लगा आपसे बात करके, आपके बातें सुनकर, and I can see the connection with each word which you have said. Thank you so much, Sachidanand ji, and thank you so much, audience. मेरा तेरे से जस्ट लास्ट में 1 मिनट का मैं कुछ शेयर करना चाहूंगा। जब मैंने कुछ किताबें लिखी तो मैंने देखा कि हर तरफ मुझे किताबें नजर आती हैं, चाहे वो पत्तों में हो, चाहे वो पेड़ में हो, चाहे इंसान मनुष्य में हो, और कुछ लोगों के अंदर मुझे बहुत सारी किताबें नजर आती है। एंड ऑफ कोर्स वी कांट राइट बुक फॉर टू मेनी पीपल बिकॉज इट टेक्स टाइम। Of course, I'm writing at the moment for a few CEOs and for a few CHROs. But then I decided to start this initiative called Heart to Heart Conversation, through which these inspiring books which are there within people can come out. And I'm so happy that today we have got many books coming out. The book on the lessons of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and this is just one example. There are many others. Thank you so much for your time. Let's audience connect.
Sure. Thank you so much, Arun, for having me here.
Thank you so much. Let's contribute. Let's connect, and collaborate, and contribute.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, and wishing you all the best for this initiative. I hope you.
Thank you so much. And we'll meet next time. Whenever you go to Baudan and some of these areas, I will just join you. I can also meet.
Indeed.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.